Okay, this is Black Re-Education TV, where we're stepping back from the brink towards a more meaningful future. With our theme verse being, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So if your ancestors were scattered via the transatlantic slave trade or the Mohammedan Arabic Islamic slave trade, then you are the children of Almighty. Sunini Nanini Samandla, the mighty one of Abraham, Issachar, and Jacob. Oh yes, Black history. The study of the Bible is Black history. And so you're welcome tonight. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Share the link to everyone. And let somebody know tonight that you are connected to the show. We give him all the praise. We give him all the glory. We give him all the honor because he is due all the praise and all the honor. Oh yes, share the link and text a friend. And after the show, make sure you follow us on all the channels. It is on Telegram Live, it is YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and the recording is uploaded on Bantu. You are welcome tonight to the show. All praises to Almighty Sunini Nanini Samanda. We give him all the praise and all the glory.
Waking up the Bantu from sea to sea. Black Re-Education TV. Waking up the Bantu from sea to sea. Black Re-Education TV.
Of sunny, sunny, where love resides. The chosen seed is awakened. Feel it deep inside. A soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Through the whispers of the wind, we hear the divine call. The chosen seed, rising, breaking down on every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. The chosen seed walks in righteousness, forever crowned with every step they take. A new path is born, guided by Sunini Nanini, the never torn. Seed is awakened, feel it deep inside. Soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Of the wind, we hear the divine call. The chosen seed is rising, breaking down on every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. In the land of Sunini Nanini, where love resides. The chosen seed is awakened, feel it deep inside. Soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most rising, breaking down every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. The chosen sea is so we can feel it deep inside. Soul so pure, shining big, bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. Oh, in the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. The land of sun and eternity, where love resides. The chosen seed is awakened, feel it deep inside. A soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Through the whispers of the wind, we hear the divine call. The chosen seed, rising, breaking down every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. The chosen seed walks in righteousness, forever crowned with every step they take. A new path is born, guided by serenity, that never torn. Sea is awakened, feel it deep inside. Soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Of the wind, we hear the divine call. The chosen seed is rising, breaking down every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. In the land of serenity, where love resides. The chosen seed is awakened, feel it deep inside. Soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Of the wind, we hear the divine call. The chosen seed is rising, breaking down every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. The chosen seed is so we can feel it deep inside. Soul so pure, shining big, bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. sides. The chosen seed is awakened. Feel it deep inside. A soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Through the whispers of the wind, we hear the divine call. The chosen seed, rising, breaking down every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. The chosen seed walks in righteousness, forever crowned with every step they take. A new path is born, guided by Sunini, Nanini, the never torn. In the land of Sunini, Nanini, where love resides, the chosen seed is awakened. Feel it deep inside, soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Through the whispers of the wind, the divine call. The chosen seed is rising, breaking down every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean, peace is found. In the land of Sunini, Nanini, where love resides, the chosen seed is awakened. Feel it deep inside, soul so pure, shining bright like the sun, spreading love and healing. We're all truly one. In the rhythm of the heartbeat, the melody unfolds. The Most High's grace surrounds us, His power untold. Through the whispers of the wind, divine call. The chosen seed is rising, breaking down every wall. Where the rivers meet the ocean.
Every time we begin to say who we are, we're being told when we say we are the chosen, we're being told that we are anti-Semitic, to shut us down. But this time, the long time, this time, the been before time.
This is what I have to say, and I think you will agree. There is someone who's been running around, claiming to be you and me. And now there's no compromising. It won't be stopped. The awakening is real. There's no compromising. And we don't care how you feel. Trust, hear, and understand. We're simply speaking true. We're exposing that fake holy land and gathering all the proof. We are not claiming to have found everything, but the Most High helps us remember. Just like He opened up our eyes and showed our New Year's in September. We don't live in fear. We're not King of Kings, Titans are made. Archangel, the Holy One, the Bantu Father, the Almighty. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. I'm shining bright. Come to the light.
Yeah, man.
Leviticus 26:7-8. And you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. And your enemies shall fall before you by the sword.
In just 1 hour, Babylon will fall. Don't fear, my people. Keep faith in who you call Elimo, the Most High, King of Kings, Titans are made. Archangel, the Holy One, the Bantu Father, the Almighty. Call Elimo, the Most High, King of Kings, Titans are made. Modimo, Moawe, Shinike, Ancient of Days. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am that I am. I am.
Thanks for breaking down every obstacle in the path to the redemption of his people. And we join the prophets that said, therefore the redeemed of Sunini Nanini shall return and come with singing unto Zion. That's what they said in the Bible. But I know it's Jerusalem. It's
paradise, eat paradise, yeah. Eat paradise, eat paradise, yeah. Eat paradise, eat paradise, yeah. Eat paradise, eat paradise. Ingefuna ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Ingefuna ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna go to paradise where the roads go and the weather's nice. Where the Salem ain't on fire, no moon and sun one, cause you be the light, the way, truth, and light. So many na nene, Tata and Zami, mighty one over Kobe. Out New Egypt, you gon' lead us. You the one to redeem us. You love us but don't need us. False doctrine, you gon' free us. Yeah. I can hear the shaking of the bones. All cause the one on the throne. A Kobe, yeah, we gone home. So then please take us home. Eat paradise, eat paradise, yeah. Eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise. Funa ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Ingefuna ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Yeah.
Okay, greetings tonight once more. In the precious name of our Father Almighty Sunini Nanini Samandla, the mighty one of Hebron, the mighty one of Issachar, and the mighty one of Akobi. Welcome tonight to the show. Excuse me. Welcome tonight to the show where we study the scriptures, and remember the Bible is Black history. So if your ancestors were scattered via the transatlantic slave trade or the Mohammedan Arabic Islamic slave trade, then you and I are the biological descendants of the people that call in the Bible Abraham, Issachar, and Jacob. We've been offering tremendous proof. And so tonight, happy Samba to you, Sabata, to all the children of the sea, the royal house of Akobi. And if you're joining us from the Pacific Islands, Australia, New Zealand, maybe you're listening to us in Tasmania, welcome to us tonight. Welcome to the show tonight. Or if you're listening to us from the troubled Arab, Asian, and European lands, welcome tonight. And if you're listening to us from the Caribbean islands, North and South America, or even Antarctica, you are welcome tonight. But if you're listening to us from the most precious real estate on the earth, Al-Kebulan, Azania, so-called Africa, which is the Holy Land, welcome tonight. And tonight, as we continue in our new series, Africa is the Holy Land, this is the Bible, Africa, and Abantu, part number 5. And in this part, we want to go in a little closer. And, I was asking myself today, why did they change the name of that place from South Africa? And, whenever the nations get involved in a process like the one we're talking about, where names are being changed, it is because they're hiding something. So they change Akobi to Israel. Well, actually, they got you accustomed to the English version of it. We all said Jacob, even though they know that it's not Jacob. Drop the J and you'll get Akobi. That's how you'll pronounce it. Of course, it's a Yoruba word meaning firstborn. And they change his name, and then everybody else that tried to connect with him, his DNA, his biological descendants, many of them began to call themselves, according to the religions of the world, Hebrew Israelites. We all went down the road. I went down that road. Because I say, if those people are the people, then I am the people. And that was the history of that is a very young age. When I was in the Assemblies of God Bible School, I began to question who those people are in the land. So when you grow, you say, no, we are those people. But because they changed his name from Akobi to Jacob, I'm sorry, not to Jacob, to Israel, right? You know the version, if you're Christianity, you know from Jacob to Israel, right? but his Bantu name was Akobi, and it gets changed to Israel. So now the next fitting thing for you to say to yourself, then I'm Israel. But it cannot be so simplistic that you're following the other nations. And with all of these changes that we see occurring, the insertion of words like Hebrew and so on, and even Israelite and even Jews, you begin to ask yourself, what else has changed? And so when I began to look, and I've just been looking for a while, when I began to look at South Africa, there was a name in the Bible that it was known as, but they forego that name and give it what we call a generic name. We have seen all throughout the scriptures when the Hebrew Israelites, the children of the Levant, when they want to change, when they did it in the Hebrew language, they generally use the genetic H as a genetic modifier, the H for the Hebrew language. They use it as a genetic modifier of words, all right? So salam has no H. That's a word that means peace. In Swahili, it's going to say salama. In Arabic, you might sound the same, as-salam, all right? Now, but there's no H. But in the Hebrew, you'll get shalom from the same salam by them inserting deliberately. And when people do deliberate things like that, you have to check out because they're not fearful of inserting that into the word and still keep the meaning peace. And so when I was looking at South Africa, I said, why? And you might wonder why I'm at South Africa, because when something significant is happening in a location that is biblical, we need to take notice. Especially when in the last days, when we all had the confusion in our minds that Israel is the Holy Land, we saw a demonstration of what is not holy in Gaza. So when we connect the dots, it's though a mighty hand, the hand of Sonini Nanini, is taking us to a particular location in this present time so that we can unfold and expose. He's exposing the nature of what we're looking at. When we saw the change taking place in West Africa, where Europeans are calling coup, because the young men are rising up and taking possession of their countries, even at the age of 34, right, and becoming presidents, then the question is, let's examine what's happening there. And then we see the irony that Ibrahim, which is Arabic for Abram, has taken over a space known as Burkina Faso, which means literally the father's house or the fatherland. Now that's not without significance, even though it was put there by Thomas Sankara somewhere around 1984, I think it's somewhere there. The significance of that name, when we connect it with the father of Abram, Terah, it's right on the backside of Burkina Faso that the nations draw a boundary separating Niger from Burkina Faso. So it's interesting that an irony that Ibrahim is coming to rule instead of Abram, and is doing and saying the same things that Abram would have been saying. Is the fatherland or death? It doesn't worth living if it's not the fight for the fatherland. So grandfather Terah lived in Namri, like I said, on the back of Burkina Faso when the borders have been drawn by Europeans. And so these subtle changes that we see taking place in the open, we should take notice of. And one of these changes, we all say South Africa, is the same thing we see with African American, two continents, Africa, Americans, just signifying that they came from there and they went to there. South Africa. We're going to look a little bit about what's happening in South Africa. South Africa is hiding the biblical location of Hebron. We did a study on Hebron, which is Cabroni. which turns out to be the capital of Botswana. So it's, and what you see with some of these words, it was over a large area, and then it begins to become restricted to a particular place, like Habaroni or Gaborone, as the people would say in the Bible, is Hebron or Habaroni. It stretches from the north way up to South Africa to Cape Town. I often show you a weather station that monitors and tells you that in Hebron tonight, and they're speaking of South Africa, they're speaking about just above Pretoria, what we will call North Hebron, Botswana, North Hebron, and then South Hebron, and then West Hebron, and East Hebron. Now, what is happening there is generations ago, this place had a different name. And to change the history and the identity of people, Europeans spend a lot of time fabricating, twisting, plagiarizing history. And so today, when we think of Hebron, we're thinking about some fake place in the Levant. We're thinking about the place where Kitchener and Conda and the others fabricated biblical locations from Sub-Saharan and put them into that northern hemisphere, from the southern hemisphere. And such word, the word Botswana, South Africa, you know, like Egypt is Egypt in the Bible. You know, Egypt is still Egypt in the Bible. But the place that Abraham came to south of Egypt, which is deep into the continent, way over to Mamre in Cape Town, suddenly becomes South Africa. So that you can never connect the biblical or the Bantu scroll location of Hebron with South Africa easily. In other words, they're dislocating, they're disconnecting a people from their land. Like I always say, when you want to talk about L-A-N-D, you must know that when you reverse it, you'll get at least D and A. So land and a people must go together. A people is connected to a land. I know, like, they move us around now, and so our ancestors came from Sierra Leone to so-called Sierra Leone. There was not those names back in the day, and we went over to Guyana. So now we say we're Guyanese. Generations down the line, we'll all say we are Guyanese. So you will forget the history of your origin. And that's what Europe has worked out. If they remove this history, over time, they never teach it in their schools, so it's never rehashed. You get World War I and World War II and now World War III. You'll get that in your history, so you remember the British Empire and what happened in European history. But you don't get to know that British Guyana was called British Ghana. British Ghana, where they moved the people from the location on the continent into that space, and they put a name. And then when you look at the Ghanaian Empire back in the day, it was larger than it was before, you see? And so those people that were moved went into part British Guyana, and the ones moved by the French went into French Guyana, and the ones moved by the Dutch went into Dutch Guyana. But Britain moved them to British Ghana. I was watching that on the map. I said, this is interesting. And so you've got to go all around to piece these things together. One of the sad things I was reading about today was what Britain, this Pacific, not all the Europeans, Britain in particular, did to the people in Tasmania. You see, then the word genocide was not known. What you're seeing in the Levant is a particular pattern of European behavior. It's a genociding people. They genocide people. Throughout history, the history of the European people is one when it comes into contact with other people, it behaves like the RH negative blood, which seeks to treat any intrusion as a virus and then go after it. And so they really destroyed the Tasmanian people. They brought the population down to nearly zero. They did the same thing with the so-called American Indians. They did the so-called with the Caribbean, the Arawaks in the Americas. Wherever they've gone, they have murdered people. The last attempt at a unified murdering of people is what we saw recently here in 2020. When everybody was subjected to the Qatar, the crown, the corona. And you have to look, the message that they tell is in the names that they give to these things as well. So South Africa needs to be looked at very closely. And I'm looking there because I see the head of the snake trying to raise. It's trying to raise its ugly head in South Africa once more. The system of apartheid by the children of apartheid. See, you are your father's child. I am my father's child. The seed remains. And that's why when there is a call for Europeans to repent or to say sorry, the children can't even say sorry for what their ancestors did. It's in the DNA. The problem is in the DNA. They will do it again. If Europe gets a chance to recolonize Africa before you say knife, they will do it. The program is on to do it right now. But you know, the ordinary person, when they look at Bible prophecy, they look at Bible prophecy from the standpoint that what Ezekiel said, what Jeremiah said. And I want to thank the person last night for one of the questions, which I'll answer more fully in question and answer next week. But I thought that I did try to address it a bit in the comment section, where it would appear as though there's a slight mixing up. Let me see if I can, I think I did copy that question, did I? I'm going to leave it for question and answer. It's going to be good at question and answer. But because of how Europe twisted its history, we got a subtle issues happening. For example, the Khoi people or the Khoisan man in South Africa gets the impression, though he traveled from the east to get to South Africa, he doesn't know the history with him being part of the Canaanite grouping. See, unlike the people who call themselves today Ethiopians, Eritreans, and Somalia, they know that their original father is Cush. So they live in the kingdom of Cush. But they don't know that Cush is the father of Nimrod. Hence Nebuchadnezzar descended from there. Nebuzaradan, all of them come out from the same space. Babylon is on the continent. And these are the little things that Europe is counting on. In time, we will forget. And our children are on the verge of forgetting everything. And that's why it's important that this history be told, documented, and we teach it to our children. That's why in the scriptures you'll hear, and teach it to your children to the third and the fourth generation, so that they will not forget. So South Africa had its name changed to hide the biblical Hebron. So when you read Hebron in the Bible, you're talking about all the lands of Southern Africa. And in the center of that space is where Jerusalem, Ikayalame, exists, and happened to fall in the vicinity of Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe in one part, Zambia in another small piece, right over to facing the area of Mozambique. And when you go on the old maps, you will see, as we'll show you as we go on, that those places are still referred to as West Hebron, which is the Karis region in Namibia. And then there is East Hebron, and we read it in the Bible where Sunini planted a garden east, where we put the man. That's Mpumalanga in South Africa. And the word Mpumalanga means east. So right away we get a picture, and Adam's calendar is there in case we don't know that it's the Garden of Eden. Adam is not going to put his calendar in Iraq. You understand? Because he never lived there. And so when you begin to put the puzzle together, Europe decided, when they realized who the children of Sunini are, they decided to create a smoke screen and shift the story to the Levant. It's much like a Hollywood movie. When you finish the whole setup and the movie starts after it's produced and ready to go on the screen, you sit down and you watch and you enjoy. But the work that went in the back there to set that story up so you can have a nice enjoyment wasn't fun. So it is with the story of the Bible being in the Levant. You had to create the Dead Sea, you had to create the Jordan River, you had to create the Euphrates River, you had to create the Tigris River, and you had to copy all the biblical location from Sub Saharan and put it over there, scattering them all over in a confusing manner, contrary to even the very scriptures that is trying to reflect, because they never thought that we were going to go and read so deeply, forensically into this kind of matter. And so I know that when we say Africa is the Holy Land, there are those who will be turning up their nose, you know, you old Christians that following the church of white Jesus. And some people are not going to stop that, you know. Some people are not going to stop following white Jesus, even though they heard that the story was a black story. They're not going to stop it. They're going to do his cross. They're going to do his pictures over the door. They're going to do 6 or 7 Hail Marys and live a fake life. That's what Christianity is. It's a fake. When our ancestors were living just a normal, everyday life, and the scribes were documenting their life so that their children could get a history and so they can follow the ways of their fathers, Europe seized on it. Where is the European history? And there's a conversation out there now about Black history. Well, what is Black history? Black history is a history when Black people were pounced upon by European people. So in fact, what they call Black history is really white history. That's white history. That's why there's no white history anywhere else, because it's there where white history is. And they didn't do differently to the people in Tasmania. They raped them, they murdered them. Stories for other days. But South Africa had its name changed because if it stayed as what it was, you would have connected the Bible story easily. So when I say Hebron, Habroni, or Garare, you don't know it's Harare, Zimbabwe in your Bible. When I say Maun, you don't know it's Maun in Botswana because they put a Maon and you think it's that one that they created over there. You go, you dip in the Dead Sea, and you think that you're in a biblical space. A lot of people went over to the Jordan River in the fake location and dipped. I'm not condemning you. We didn't know. I didn't. And we think that we're in a biblical space. Some people went over to see the 7 stations of the cross in the Levant. But Jesus never existed. It was Tony Evans that was teaching and wrote about the historicity of Christ. Nonsense. And these are the things that we were subjected to innocently because we thought that what we were reading is true. I'm going to be reading a few things tonight. And there will be part 1 and 2 to this conversation tonight because, well, we continue on part 5, 6, 7. Because Something happened in the space called South Africa, or better put, on the south side of Jerusalem, where it was located, in the kingdom of Judah. That's where all those Europeans are. The Boers, the British Europeans that are there in Cape Town, they are in the kingdom of Judah, which is on the south side of Jerusalem. And they don't want to be dislodged. And they came very close to legally again holding power in the southern kingdom. They played a game. And the ANC played along. And then they played the full hand before the game was finished. We'll wait to see what the ANC will do. Whatever happens, Sunini will destroy everything that is not of his. He will tear it down. See Kenya. Kenya's parliament want to go in recess so they can give time for the place to cool off. That's the game they're playing, instead of face the music. It's not going to go away. There is something that is being done in the earth in Africa. Sunini has begun to purge the land. Jeremiah said it. Ezekiel said it. The valley of dry bones, they will come alive again. This is not the whole house of Israel. There's no Israel on the continent. There's no God of Israel there. We don't worship him. You see, and these are the things that was closed to us, but is now being opened. And as it opens up, a whole set of things are happening. Be not in any doubt that Sunini Nanini has put his name in Jerusalem Ekailami, up south, where Abraham lived. Issachar and Jacob lived there. And I began to show you in this part of the series that living there was not just the children of Jacob. You also had the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, which is part of the Canaanite people. And they still live there today. And they did not go into captivity. They suffered from colonization, but they were not the ones picked up and put in the transatlantic slave trade. This was exclusively the children of Jacob. Remove them far from their borders. That's what you read in your scriptures. But you're applying that scripture to people that inserted themselves in the Bible, the children of Israel. And so now you get connected with the children of Israel. I knew that there was something in my spirit as a young boy attending the Assemblies of God Bible School, when I asked Pastor Smart, the late Pastor Smart, may his soul rest in peace, who are the people in the book? And the people's in the book, because when I'm reading, and I said, who is those people in that land called Israel? He said, those are the Jews. And I said, who is us? He said, everybody else is Gentiles. So the Gentiles switched the game. I remember that conversation as though it was a couple of minutes ago. I said, but why when I'm reading this book, those people that I'm reading about, I seem to feel connected with the DNA of those people. I'm connecting with these people. That time DNA wasn't widespread. As I'm connecting with, as though I'm part of that group. And he began to smile. Those who know him, he's got deep dimples, and his dimples went in. And so I say that to say, when we were in Christianity, we had these questions in our minds, but we couldn't get the answers because those pastors did not have, genuinely, honestly, did not have the answers. They were suspicious of things which you would not discuss with the students. Because when you become a pastor now, you know that there were things that you can't say with the congregation because you're having questions about those same things. For example, this drinking of the blood. I was questioning that thing forever. And so these changes the nations did, and we got connected or caught up in these changes. And in so doing, we voluntarily by conversion, removed ourselves from Sunini Nanini. And it's now that we're coming back to him. And as we're coming back to him, he is hearing us and he is answering us. He is demonstrating his power of deliverance to his people. He's speaking to his people like he spoke with the prophets back in the days, because we are the children of the prophets. So when they changed South Africa, they changed the identity of the major biblical location, the kingdom of Judah. Judah was the kingdom on the south side of Jerusalem. Bethlehem is there. And the temple stood in the center. That big city, it wasn't small like they're trying to fit it on that little place by the mosque, the Arab mosque. There can be no evidence in the scriptures for such an event. And you know, but the scripture spoke extensively of Jerusalem. Let me start off the conversation tonight by having us go to the scripture reading. And we're going to read a little bit about Hebron. We're going to read a couple of verses about Hebron. Because that whole place, Habroni, Gabron. See, the Roni at the end is what gave it away. Europeans can't pronounce it like that. And if today you ask them the capital of Botswana, they'll tell you Gaborone, right? But when you live in the city and you live in the villages and you live among the people, you will understand why they say what they say. They have got the correct pronunciation of the word. Because the last four letters, R-O-N-E, Roni, Habaroni. I'm saying it in English so you get it, but they will roll the tongue. Habaroni. Right. Now, Hebron is Habaroni. And Abraham lived there. Jacob lived there. Issachar lived there. Our ancestors lived there. And there is evidence, like we showed you in one of the shows, that we find the children of Naphtali there. And the British was the one that changed what the Boers said. The Boers said Natali, and the British said Natal. And then we left with KwaZulu Natal. So they were out changing the names of the biblical locations so you can connect the Bible with that story. First, let me start off by sharing with you my screen, and then I share with you Hebron, and then we go into the scripture reading tonight. So, put it to the point where you can get to see it. The word you're not seeing is Hebron. Let me just click in it. I'm just going to open it up. I'm going to pull it over this side so you can see what I'm talking about. So you see there, Hebron. This is South Africa. Right? Just pointed it. You see? Hebron, Madibang, M-A-D-I-B-N-G, Madibang, North, West, South Africa, Hebron. Now, when that's where it's there, right at where you see that. Let me click on that map as well. See if I can get it open up. Right? So just above Pretoria, going back towards Botswana, if I can just push this out a little, minus. Keep your eyes on the yellow dot. That's where it's Hebron, yeah? Keep your eyes on that yellow dot. And if you look carefully, you see Botswana. The word you see for the capital of Botswana is the word, the derogative way of referring to the word Haberoni, Hebron, that whole space. So all on this side is north of Hebron. And then all on this side is south of Hebron. That's why the place cannot be called South Africa. Because South Africa limits the scale of the Bible story. That's why all the Bibles, lots of the Bible locations in the southern kingdom, this is where the southern kingdom was located. So that's Haberoni, just above Pretoria. Haberoni is the capital, and it's in the Bible is the Kaberoni, KH. My tongue don't roll, and I can't pronounce it properly, but that KH sound is what is the Strong's changing of the word Hebron. And even Hebron needs to got an E at the end, so you get Heberoni. That's the word. And the word originates in the Southern Sotho language, right? Which is a language like Swana, Botswana's language. And so you'll get the same kind of sound coming out of, for the KH, they will say GH. All right? Now then, if this is the biblical location, Hebron, let's read what the scripture says about Hebron. One of the first references to Hebron is right up in Genesis chapter 13, verse number 18. It says, Abram removed his tent. He was dwelling in tent. Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plains of Mamre. And then they say, which is, I wouldn't say in, I say which is a part of Hebron or Haberoni, south. That's where Mamre is. Botswana today is Haberoni, north. Mpumalanga is Haberoni, east. On the west side of Jerusalem is Haberoni, west, which is like saying West Jerusalem, East Jerusalem, and Mpumalanga, North Jerusalem. You could go as far as Zimbabwe, because those walls in Zimbabwe that they, Smithsonian and others, and Heritage and all of them clearly proclaim as the walls of Great Zimbabwe, is to hide the fact that they know is the walls that stood on the northern side of Hebron. But they can't say that, because you will know that the temple was inside of that great city. But let's read about more Hebron. So Abram removed his tent from a place, and he came and dwelt in the plains. Now, like I said when we did the first show on this, the plains are low-lying areas by the riverside, or by the side of a lake, or by the side of a sea, the plain. And it says, Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plains, the low-lying area of a place called Mamre, which is Hebron. Which is Hebron, Cape Town. Abram came and he lived in Cape Town. So you understand why Europeans want Cape Town. You see, I have to connect the dots to the present time so you could understand. The DA operates out of Cape Town. There was a British man calling for the secession of Cape Town to create their own town, like Orania and the other two. They know that this is the Holy Land, but the people living in the Holy Land, they don't know that. Even as I'm saying here today, they can connect all I'm talking about, but they don't understand. Even to our brothers and our brother and sister that were singing the song, Jerusalem e Kayalami. They were thinking that they need to go to the land of Israel. when they were singing, the children of Jerusalem was singing and praising, and the whole world was dancing. And that was a sight to see. That's Sonini's sense of humor, because he knows that the day when everybody wake up to the reality that this song was talking about the real Jerusalem, they're going to say, hey, everybody's dancing. All nations, bobbing and weaving. Jerusalem, Ekayalami. So he lived in Hebron, south. And Sarah died, verse 32 of verse 2 of chapter 23. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, Arba. And see, another name, which is Hebron. She dwelt in Cape Town, Mamre, Hebron South. Same place with her husband, Abraham. Evidence. Only 3 we need, but we got dozens. And that same place is called Land of Canaan. Hebron, Kirjath Arba, Hebron. Mamre, Hebron. Cape Town, Hebron. Now, when the world wake up to this reality, they will hate what they have done to black and brown people. And there will be no place for those who cause it to happen to hide. Where are you going to hide? You're going to run to the rocks? You that changed the course of history and lied about locations and who the black and brown people are on the earth? And that's not race, it's just a reality. We can't change the color of our skin. We don't want to. I mean, some people are trying. Kirjath Arba, Arba, Ariba. Now you watch, that word is going to appear again, and you're going to see the genetic modifier inserted into that very word. When your eyes become like mine, and those in the scribe group and others that are viewing this information now, your eyes will flash very quickly onto this thing. See the H in Hebron. You can even drop the H. And you notice, let me say this, and this is being very respectful, that when Jamaicans speak, they drop the H. Maybe the H is not a word, what we should be pronouncing, somebody said one time. Maybe we're not supposed to be pronouncing the H. And sometimes I think I drop the H unknowingly, but I was trained to speak English, you see. So I would say Hebron, E-B-R-O-N. It's the same Hebron. The H is silent in the case. But the Hebrew language inserted certain letters, especially the H, as a genetic modifier. That's story for other days. So she died in Kirjath Arba. The same is Hebron. The same is the land of Canaan. How did the land of Canaan get onto the Mediterranean Sea when it is on the Atlantic or the African Ocean? No, even to that we have troubles with. That was called the Ethiopian Ocean before. And now we got a place they call in the Indian Ocean. But India is nowhere so near to that place. It's the ocean is closer to Africa. But it's not called the African Ocean. Now, this is what Europe has done with history and the perception of the supremacy that they want to, and the minority feeling that they want to create. And we played into the game. So, Kirjath Arba is Hebron, is the land of Canaan. Abraham lived there. Sarah lived there. She died and she was buried in a particular cave. And there's only one of those, as my understanding goes. And that cave is still in Mamre today. And it's permanently closed. We did the show showing it is permanently closed now because they took the burial place of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they made it into a pub, into a club, into a resort, into an amusement park. That's what Europe is doing in the Holy Land. They're desecrating it. I saw one of them eating the zebra as well. Anyhow, let's go on. Chapter 23, verse 19 says, and after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field in Machpelah before Mamre. That's on the east of Mamre, that is. The same is Mamre, Hebron. in the land of Canaan. You see that? So in those 4 verses or 3 verses, we have connected the entire story that Europe lied about and tell you and I that Israel is the Holy Land. Abraham lived in the Holy Land. He came from West Africa up south into the Holy Land. He went down to Egypt, and then when he left Egypt, he returned to the Holy Land. And in that land, Canaan's land, the Canaanites are there, descendants of the children of Japheth that came from East Africa. Let's read on some more about Hebron. Genesis 35:27 says, and Jacob came unto Issachar, that's his father. So Jacob, son of Abraham, grandson of Abraham, come to his father Issachar, son of Abraham, unto Mamre, unto the city of the Araba, A-R-B-A, Arba, A-R-B-A. Now watch the word in verse number 23. Verse number 23, if I can highlight it. Chapter 23, verse number 2. That's the word, A-R-B-A. Watch the same word having its spell. And this is not grammatic mistakes, typo. No, this is an attempt by the scholars, the Hebrew scholars, the rabbis, who are translating, copying the Bantu language. And here we have the subtle change in, it says here, and Jacob came to his father, Issachar, unto Mamre, unto the city, and look, like I said to you, the Araba. Just getting those words. A-R-B-A, and up there, Kerrijat, A-R-B-A, A-R-B-A-H. You see? So you would think it's a different place, because that's what they've been doing. They've been changing these things, but the same place, she's in the same place. As Jacob and Issachar, they are in the same space. They've come to their father, and Jacob, came unto Issachar, his father, unto Mamre, that's the big house of Abraham, unto the city of Arab, of the Araba, or Kerrijat Arba, same place, which is South Hebron, where Abraham and Issachar sojourned. You see connecting the dots. Verse number 14 of chapter 37. It says, and he said unto him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren. This is Jacob sending out, I think it's Joseph. See if it be well with thy brethren and with the flock, and bring me word again. So he sent him, that's a Joseph, out of the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. So Shechem in Namibia, he's coming there to visit his brothers who are looking after the sheep. So he's coming from the valley of Hebron, and he's going to go to Shechem, and he's going to stay there because it's a long journey. See, and you can tell that the writers are writing a story that was given to them, or they took by force possession of, and is modifying it with the time in which they were living. Hallelujah. Let's go on. Chapter 6 of Exodus, verse 18. And the son of Kohath is Amram, and he called the names, and one of them is Hebron. Now, what you need to note as well is that there's several people that will carry that same name, because that's how Bantu names are, or naming back in those days. It's a name that comes down in the family. So this could well be. All right. I want to pause there because I want to take us, because generations after, you will come to the book of Joshua, because Abraham is gone, Isaac is gone, Jacob is gone. He died in Egypt, and his body was brought back to be buried in Hebron, in the tomb in Mamre, right? And so that's like 4 generations gone off the scene. And Joshua comes up there with Moses. And they're talking about these same places. Somebody knew these places and is writing the story together like this. And here we are referring to a king that was in Hebron. So after Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they went into captivity, other people took up the land. They took up the land. They took possession of the land. And that's why when Joshua comes in, he's got to now take back this land. He's got to take back land because that land was given to Abraham, and Abraham's children went down into Egypt. 3 or 4 generations into Egypt. And then the 4th generation coming out of Egypt is coming back to this space. Then you'll understand the prophecy of Genesis chapter 15, which is a 2-fold prophecy. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, let me share with you I'm going to rush down a couple of slides. This is part 5 of the series, The Bible, Africa, and Abantu. Africa is the Holy Land, part 5. Now, we spoke about the genealogy, and we looked at the people of Canaan that went up south. These Canaanites here from the lineage, this is Japheth. This should be Japheth over here and not Ham. Japheth is over here. He's over the black people. His name, Japheth, means Egypt. It's a Greek word that means, in the Issacosa language, Japeti, right? So we know these are his children because his father is Noah, and Noah can only produce black and brown children. That's why these children are black and brown. The European nations are not black and brown, and therefore should not be under the lineage of Japheth. That's the work of Josephus and others. Right, so here we have Canaan, and these children, Sidon, he stopped over in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So we have the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Havites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Arvatites, the Zimrites, and the Hamathites. Now these are the children of Canaan. And that's why when you read the scriptures that we read just now, you're going to see that they end up in the land of Canaan, right? This is the children of Canaan here. They end up in the, well, you see some new ones as well, the Timorites and all of them inside. But this was the God that the Canaanites worshipped. So those people up south there, they did not know Sunini Nanini. Up until Abraham went there, sent by Sunini Nanini, who welcomed him into the land, appeared to him. This was the God of the Canaanites. They made an idol and they worship it. That's why we are not to do that. All right, let me jump this genealogy because I want to get you into it. So this is what the Hittite looked like today. It might not have looked like that back in the day, but here you have a people that has mingled the DNA somewhat over time. But this is what the Hittite looked like today. He is a Canaanite, right? True and true Canaanite. Of course, he's going to share the same DNA from Noah, like Shem and Japheth, all right? Now, like I said to you back there, Nelson Mandela, you can see the Hittite part in him and the fact that in his lineage is also having Bantu lineage. So he's a mixture between Bantu and the Hittite. But see, if you don't know these are the Hittite, you'll think it's the Khoi Khoi, as the British call him. So our people get called by the names that the other nations decide to call them. They call them the Khoi Khoi, the San people, and well, there's a mixture of people there, different. In this group, there's a little variety as well. But these are all children of Canaan. All right? And the key of these, they have never changed. They speak with a click. All the children of Canaan spoke with a click. And even though Nelson Mandela is not totally, completely a Hittite, like Uriah, so that's why Uriah was a Hittite. You remember Uriah the Hittite, the 5-star general? He's a Hittite. This is who he was. And that's why he was in the army of David, because he knew the terrain. But Abraham has come down to live there and learned the terrain. And so 4 generations after, David comes on the scene, and he has a 5-star general, Uriah the Hittite. South Africa, generations after, had its first Khoisan or Hittite president, mixed Hittite and Bantu. And Europe knows that. But these people don't know that. I mean, some of them, I think some people know, because one man was saying that Nelson Mandela was fully Khoisan. Well, it's Hittite, half Bantu. And I did promise to go into his genealogy. The purpose of that was to show you that when you get into his mother's lineage and his father's lineage, then you get to see where the Khoi or San blood came from as against the Bantu blood. All right? And then you'd see that his lineage going back could lead back to the it's going to go back to Nguni. It's going to go back to Nguni. All right? But I'm not going to go deep into his history. This is another part of his history. But here in this map, we've got a little picture of the Bantu in West Africa. All right? He's here. And then he's here as well. And he's here. He's here. And he's there. So the Bantu, they seem to have been moving, as Chukwemeka from Iboland would say, in an anti-clockwise migration pattern. Anti-clockwise, they move. And I guess it's dependent on the season. What I have here is some complex details about the genealogies, which I don't intend to go into. I'm not a specialist in that. I keep the genealogy as simple as this. So this lady that we're watching at, she has chosen to put her DNA up there so people can see that she's 61% African and 36% European. All right? And then you get the breakdown of where. And one of the breakdown you have is African, southeastern Bantu, right? So central hunter-gatherer as well is going to be Bantu. But this is how it breaks down, and that's where she is. These are some of the varieties. 84%, right? And she has got also southeastern Bantu. That's how the Bantu is mixed up, and the black DNA on the continent is mixed in, right? But it comes down to, this is 92% African, and you see the bulk of the DNA goes back there, south central hunter-gatherer, and then southeastern Bantu as well. So this is the Bantu people. The bulk of the people from the Niger Congo, West Africa, they are the people, the occupants of Sub Saharan Africa properly, the direct biological children of Abraham, Isaka and Okobi. The mother originated in West Africa. Their grandfather, great-grandfather, Abraham, come from West Africa. These people come from the Levant. This Bible story got nothing to do with Europeans in terms of the biblical heritage of the people in the book. Now this, I put this one here because you need to see it. It's 71% East European West, 12% Ireland, 4% European East, and then 9% of other. That's a European. It's not going to be like this. Because even though some Europeans is hanging here, and that is how we got there, maybe through slavery or whatever, or location, then, but It's a different people. This is a different people. This people and this people is not the same people. We're not doing race. We're separating truth from fiction. And the conversation that all people who came out of Africa is an attempt to suggest that Eve is the mother of all living, which is fictitious. Now, this is what the Western Bantu people look like. This is the children in the Northern Kingdom. This is the Southern Bantu people, maybe some Central as well. This is Central and Southern Bantu people here. These are the Nilotics, not really, these are not Bantu, but they are the children of Japhet lineage. They share the same, some of the same DNA. And the Pygmies, they share some of the same DNA. And is this for, just imagine all of these people in generations by generation at some point intermarrying each other. And then you can get what you're seeing today in the continent of Africa. A little bit of South Africa here. It says, the prehistory of South Africa it says the wider region, Southern Africa, from the Middle Stone Age until the 17th century. Southern Africa was first reached by Homo sapiens. This is Europeans' conversation. Before 130, remember these years, 130,000 years ago. So Europeans are admitting that that location would have seen the ancient peoples, the ancient black peoples. Possibly they say they went back to double it, 260,000 years ago. The region remained in the late Stone Age until the first traces of pastoralism, which is people grazing the flock, were introduced about 2,000 years ago. Now, you keep your eyes on this 2,000 years conversation. When you hear 2,000 years, you know that this is the children of Jesus writing the story. Everything is 2,000 years ago. So he's saying that these people appeared at the end of the Stone Age when pastoralism was introduced by who? 2,000 years ago. The Jesus story they give us, 2,000 years ago. This is a people that is writing history from the position of fabrication. And then they talk about the Bantu migration. Let's continue on this side. The Bantu migration reached the area now Southern Africa, now South Africa. So the Bantu came south. So that's how we know they came from the West Africa and they came south around the first decade of the 3rd century, over 1,800 years ago. Now 2,000 years ago, then 1,800 years ago. Early Bantu kingdoms were established in the 11th century. First European contact dates to 1488. So we don't know if all of these dates are true, but if it's 1488, from the time they came here, they started plotting. From the days of Columbus, you gotta go back and look at the story I did concerning Columbus, right? They were planning this slavery. Why is it that Europeans could not have met the people on the continent and they began to have a trading relationship like what they want to do now? Why did they decided they were going to kill those people and take what they have and subject those people so that they can take what they want from them, use them as slaves so they can get rich off of them? Why? That was the first thought. When you question that, go back to the Bible and then read the story of Cain and Abel and analyze it for yourself and ask yourself the question, why is it that if Cain had a conversation with Abel and Abel had a conversation with Cain the day before, why the next day it was Cain killing Abel and not Abel killing Cain? Have you ever wondered why? Then we see the same pattern repeated here. When they come into contact with another people that is different to them, their first action is to get rid of those people. They want to be here alone. They don't want to share. And if they pretend that they want to share, like the DA in South Africa, it's because they just want a foothold. Imagine the DA was interested in having a deputy. They want to be in the cabinet from the standpoint of a deputy president. They forgot what they did to South Africa. They should be so humble and say, no, we don't want to do that. We just want to share with you. We just want to share with you. They want to entrench themselves and go in and change what needs to be changed to cement themselves in the Holy Land, because the holy people don't know that it's the Holy Land. So they say the first contact was with 1488. But in 1611, they start translating a book that is not theirs. And the next thing you know, they took the people of that book and enslaved them. And then began to project themselves as the authority and control a land that by its own terrain is not their land. The Holy Land, the center of the earth. Jerusalem is the center of the earth, not a little thing in the Levant. And so, to get to do a part of this, they had to change the name from South Africa, from Hebron, the biblical Hebron, to South Africa. So it becomes a generic name. West Africa, East Africa, North Africa. But there's a country in North Africa named Egypt, one named Libya. This country in East Africa, those are in North Africa, in East Africa named Kenya. Why South Africa still? Because how do you get to say to the world that this is Hebron? This is the biblical Hebron. It's the Bible that says it. So they had to get you to read the Bible in the opposite, in the reverse. So when you read Genesis 13:1, I think that's where we're going to close. I'm not going to go on the others yet. I want to take you to Genesis 13:1. When you read Genesis 13:1 and you read, Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south from Egypt. And you go right down to the bottom of the chapter, you see, and Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plains of Mamre, which is still south, which is Hebron. Then you would know that Abram returned to Hebron, the place he was going before he ended up in Egypt, because there was a famine in Hebron. And he turned around when he went to the north of the continent, where it was better. Now, after he left the north, he came back to the south, where he belonged and was given. And if you know that the whole place is Hebron, but it's now called South Africa, then you begin to look at the Bible differently. And hence the readings that I was sharing with you. And if you jump over a little, in Numbers chapter 13, verse 22 says, and they ascended by the south. Who is they? The spies that came to spy out the Holy Land. Moses tell them, get thee up southward. And they ascended by the south. They came to the south. Now they come home to the land of Tira, so they're in West Africa. And Moses is sending out from Mount Paran, which is on the banks of the Niger River in West Africa. And he's saying, and they ascended by the south and came to Hebron. So the spies came there. The 12 spies that came to spy out that land that they lived, their ancestors lived in before, but they were all born in captivity. They went down to Egypt, and their ancestors died in Egypt. Levi died. Akobi died. All the children died over there. And their bones had to be brought back. And so he said, go and see who is occupying this land now. We're not there. We are not there. But the land is still full. Go see. And they ascended by the way and came unto Hebron, where they found these people, and they also found the strange people, the children of Anak, the descendants of giants. When they left the land, giants were left there, were invaded the space. Now Hebron was built. Now they're talking about the land that they came to. It's Hebron they came to. They're sent to Hebron. And they say Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. So though Egypt had a population, this place up south had a population too. Let's read some more. Joshua now comes in and brings the people. Moses is dead. And Joshua is now leading them in. Wherefore Adonai Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoham, king of Hebron. So he's in the land, up south. And a very notable place is there below Kimberley, even unto Deber, king of Eglon. And that place is named Deber still today in South Africa. You're going to get there. Let's read about Hebron. Joshua chapter 10, verse 5. Therefore, the 5 kings of the Amorites, so we know now who was up there. 5 kings of the Amorites, and these were the names of them there. Adonai Zedek, king of Jerusalem, the space that became the kingdom of Jerusalem. Then you had Hoham, king of Hebron. So you know parts of the land is being named like that as well. Piram, king of Jarmuth, and Japhi, Jafie, king of Laish, and Deber, king of Eglon. These were 5 Amorite kings. Those are the children in the lineage of Canaan. And they were up south. Verse 5 we can read with sense now. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Laish, and the king of Eglon gathered themselves together and went up, and that they and all their hosts, and encamped before Gibeon and made war with Gibeon. Gibeon is in Namibia. And they warred with Gibeon because Gibeon made peace with the children of Akobi. And the children of Gibeon had to call for the help of Joshua. Verse 10:23. We're coming down. Chapter 10, verse 23 of Joshua. And they did so and brought forth those 5 kings unto him out of the caves. The king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Laish, and the king of Eglon. And Joshua went up from Eglon, and all Abantu with him unto Hebron, and they fought against it. So they went to fight. They went to fight to save the people of Gibeon. And he took it, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and he smote them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all the swords that were therein. Now these were not the people These were the people that worshiped the Canaanite god. He left none remaining, as he had done to Hebron, so he did to Debir, so he did to the kings, the other kings, the king of Libnah, and so on. And at that time came Joshua and cut off the Anakims from the mountains, from Hebron. There were giants around that space. And from Debir. And Debir, yes, the same company that bears the name in Botswana. Their original location was just below in the vicinity of Kimberley. That's where Debir was. We're going to show you that as we come there in the map. So we're talking about Hebron. And from Anab. And from all the mountains of Judah. Drop the H. That's where the kingdom of Judah is, up south. And from all the mountains of Akobi, Joshua destroyed them utterly with their cities. There's no Israel there. You get the picture. There's no Israel there. Israel is a spanner thrown into the works to chuck the story into the Levant. And the king of Jerusalem won, and the king of Hebron won. And Joshua rebuked him and gave unto Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, Hebron. He gave him Haberoni, Hebron North, because we can see him operating out of Maun as well for an inheritance. So Joshua inherited North Hebron. And Hebron therefore became the inheritance of, not Joshua, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, not a Kenite, no. You just watch that word. We're going to come and talk about that word another time. He is not the son in the Kenites, among the Kenites. All right? And Joshua, it says, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and that land is his unto this day. So those children are Caleb's descendants. Because that he wholly followed Sunini Nanini Samandla of Akobi, not Israel. And the name of Hebron before was Kerijat Arba. Comes out. So you get to get the receipts. It's adding up. Same place we in, up south, which is called, and they put Araba, was a great man among the Anakims. That's why they call it. So you see, when you go back in the history now, you find the Anak, A-N-A-K. That land, they were there. A stone throw away, if you continue going further south, you should end up in Antarctica, where those giants are now. But we'll get there. Okay. And the land had rest from war. And unto Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he gave a part among the children of Judah. So they had a part on Hebron North, and they also had a part on Hebron South, where they had springs. According to the commandment of Sunini Nanini to Joshua, even the city of the Arba, the father of Anak, which was Hebron South. So you notice the range. There is a name and a place narrowed down to name to the capital of Botswana, Hebron. That's it there. But in the back in the day, it was a wider span that it occupied. All right, and then we'll jump some of these and get into I want to just read a little bit about David. I think I should read it from 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 31. We're coming down here. And to them which were in Hebron, and to all the places where David himself and his men would want to hunt. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of Sunini Nanini and said, shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And Sunini Nanini said unto him, Go up. And David said, Where should I go up? And he said unto him, Unto Hebron. 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 3. And his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household, and they dwell in the cities of Hebron. It's a big place. And the time that David was king, look at this, king in Hebron. David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah, and was there for 7 years and 6 months as a king. Now, if you jump down here, it says, and unto David were sons born in Hebron. And then they list the names of the sons of David. Hallelujah. So David lived in Hebron, not in Israel. You see the confusion? Not in the Levant among the Arabs. They don't know him. He lived very far away from them. To the other extreme, he lived. So this is a story of the book that we're talking about. Hallelujah. He lived among the Hittites. The 5-star general that run David's army, Uriah, he was a Hittite. In other words, this is a Hittite family. In this that they call colored in the Cape, it's a mixture of Asian and white, Asian and black, Asian and all the versions of the Europeans. They mix it. Indian, Muslim, everything mixed. You can see all of them here. That's why they want to call it a rainbow nation. Now, remember, this is the Holy Land. This is what happened there. This is what Europe did there. Arabs mixed, Asian mixed, European, all the European versions, the Germans, the Dutch, all of them mix up there. But generally, in closing now, here we closing. The Africans, they are operating outside of Cape Town, city of Abraham. And then some speaking, these are the languages of the people of South Africa, so you get a picture. Then you got the English, they're dotted in between. You see those little yellows, dot, 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 in every space, you'll find a bit of English there, right? Then you got the PD, then they, this is the orange looking here up there. Polokwane area, Lapalila, all of those places. Sosha, which is a language like green here. Northern Sosha, social languages here. Then you've got Northern Ndebele. Please don't worry over my pronunciation. Ndebele, Ndebele, right? This is a Southern Ndebele language. This is spoken of. That's in the southern. This is a kind of purplish grayish in there. You can see them in between, scattered between there. Tonga. This is this one here with the yellow around here. Over by the Mozambique side there. And then you got Swana. They seem to be a large speaking, concentrated in this, on the borders of Gaborone, or Botswana there. The whole of Botswana there, getting there. Swana. Then you got the Chivenga, Benda. This is green, light greenish. You can see them fitting in between there. Isikosa, it's a large group concentrated in the, I think this is the Eastern Cape. And then you got The Zulus, another strong concentration here, coming out from Naphtali. And that's how the space is population. This is not European lands. This is not a native land for Europeans. And Europeans cannot lead a government in this space anymore. Whether, the former was by force, this one is now by deception. Once you get in the foot in the door, then you could say you were legally elected by people. And this land need to be very wary. South Africa need to be very, very careful of the treading. But our Sunini's hand is in this matter. I wanted to share this tonight because I thought it's important that we understand that South Africa is not South Africa. There's nothing like an African American. When that word is used on him, it's to hide his true identity. When you hear the word South Africa, the true identity of Hebron is being hidden in that space. And I want you not to stop there. I want you to continue to read the other references to Hebron, and so that Sunini can continue to enlighten us as we continue in this path. We've got the conclusion of this aspect of it. Next time we come back, we go into a little more on the DNA aspect of it, which we started looking at the DNA of the peoples of Southern Africa, especially Abantu. And you're going to see that the Bantu is related. The West Bantu is related to the Southern Bantu because it's the same family, come from there. And then you see them going up southeast. And then they're going up into the east. And they come back around again. It's the same family. And they get chucked out into the diaspora, you call them today. Right? Millions out there. And they're going home. I want to thank everyone tonight. Happy Samba to you again. And to your family, may the Most High Almighty Sunini Nanini continue to watch over us as we continue to experience his glorious resurrection. Thank you, and good night.
Education TV, waking up the Bantus from sleep to
Okay, this is Black Re-Education TV, where we're stepping back from the brink towards a more meaningful future. What our theme verse being, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So if your ancestors were scattered via the transatlantic slave trade or the Mohammedan Arabic Islamic slave trade, then you are the children of Almighty Sunini Nanini Samandla, the mighty one of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Oh yes, Black history. The study of the Bible is Black history. And so you're welcome tonight. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Share the link to everyone. And let somebody know tonight that you are connected to the show. We give him all the praise. We give him all the glory. We give him all the honor because he is due all the praise and all the honor. Oh yes, share the link and text a friend. And after the show, make sure you follow us on all the channels. It is on Telegram Live, it is YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and the recording is uploaded on Bantu. You are welcome tonight to the show. All praises to Almighty Sunini Nanini Samanda. We give him all the praise and all the glory.
waking up the Bantu from sea to sea. Black Education TV, waking up the Bantu from sea to sea.